I started working with a personal development coach, and he said, I have this tool that I use. It's called the Harrison Assessment. And what it does is it's not a personality assessment. It's a behavioral tool that lists your most preferred behaviors to your least preferred behaviors. It's wonderful.
How much of your success, not necessarily success in your career, but success in your ability to see yourself who you are and change your perception about yourself, how much of that you would, attribute to having a mentor who helped you to do that?
There's something to be said about the timing, right? And what you're meant to do. And so there's a conversation that we, may not fit on this podcast, but there's this universal support that's out there just waiting for you to tap into it. I quit the job without having any clients. I gave 4 weeks notice to hedge my bet. So I'm like, let's hedge my bets. In the States, sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes you need that kick in the pants. And I will say that only in the context of it's a productive kick in the pants when you're on the right path.
Welcome, welcome. This is Gull, your money mindset expert. And today we have the wonderful Nick Musica. Welcome, Nick.
Thank you, Gull. Pleasure to be here.
It's lovely to have you here today, Nick. Nick, everyone's heard your intro. They know how fabulous you are. But in your own words, please tell everybody what it is that you do.
Yeah. I run a search marketing agency, specifically focusing on SEO and website design in San Diego for English-speaking countries. So a lot of our work is in the US, but we do get into New Zealand, Australia, UK from time to time.
Wonderful. So talk us through your journey, Nick. What led you to be here and become this amazing entrepreneur that you are now? What's your journey been?
Yeah. I think I would start back in it's probably 2003. And so I was working for one of the babies of AT&T in New Jersey. On a little skunkworks project. Like no one wanted this project. And for whatever reason, there was 4 people, including myself, working on it. But we had support of some kind. I still don't fully understand it. And my job was writing copy for the website, designing the website, and making sure people click on the buttons and get the email to fax program that we were selling people, right? And we decided we needed help with SEO. So we hired a local firm in New Jersey. And for the first 3 months, they gave us, I kid you not, they gave us 4 PDFs. It was from, stick with me, it was the copy from the website. And they put in, like we said, fax, and they put internet fax. And it was like 4 pages of that, right? And it was $6,000 a month. That was then. And I bring it to my boss. I know, I'm with you. And I'm like, you got to take a look at this. And he's like, let's see what they give us next month. Okay. Well, the following month 4 of a 6-month SOW, right? Keep in mind, month 1, 2, and 3 was 4 pages, PDF 1, 2, 3, 4, right? Month 4 was a interlinking document. But it gets better. So
and you continue to pay for this, the 6,000.
I know. I mean, this is, I know. So I'm like, come on, what's going on here? So I bring him the document and I say, it's a best, quote unquote, best practices of interlinking. They don't even tell us where we should link from page A to page B and what it should say. They don't even give us for $6,000. And here's the best part of all the best. I copied and pasted content from that PDF into Google. And I'm like, oh, it's 100% no. Pretty darn close. It is. So do we just pay you for something that I literally just Googled and it was $6,000? I'm pretty sure we did. So he goes, okay, here's what I'm going to cancel the contract, but here's what I want you to do. You'll get us someone who's been in the space, who knows what they're talking about, so they can validate what we know and correct us on the things that we don't know. Great. So I did. I found Shari Thoreau. She's been doing SEO since 1999, 2001, something like that, right? For a very long time. And she comes in, she trains us. And at the end of the training, she says, one or both of you are going to be getting a new job for the next 3 to 4 months. And I'm like, sounds exciting. Also, why do you say that? Because it happens every time. Sure enough, my next job was working in car insurance full time on SEO specifically. I was no longer doing all the copy, all the things. It was specifically for SEO to get a very specific result. And that was the start of it. So fast forward then, 20 something years later, uh, I've done a lot of SEO for bigger companies, for smaller companies. And in 2019, I thought, I just want to do this for myself. I want to do this in my own business for smaller
Mm,
companies. And the place that I was working at the time, it just wasn't a good fit for me.
mm,
And and I thought, and we recently got hit by an algorithm, and we should have. Right? It was an affiliate website. It was a good idea to go there. It was a good idea to leave that company, and the site just was ranking for things it shouldn't have ranked for. Right? It was ranking for medical terms,
mm.
and it was an affiliate website. Like these two things do not go together. And I'm going,
Yeah.
this is a bad idea. At some point, this is going to be a bad idea, right? And
Mm,
then it was a bad idea. Google comes through and chopped off the traffic, and I'm doing the math, right? I'm doing the math, and I'm like, so in 3 or 4 months at this rate, I'm
mm,
firing myself.
mm,
That's the decision I'm making. I'm going to fire the young lady who I brought in, Tierney, who I worked with in the past. I'm going to fire her first, then I'm going to fire myself. That's how
mm,
this is going to roll out. And then I don't have a job. And during this period of time, I'm trying to figure out like what I'm doing. What am I going to do? Am I getting a job? Am I starting a business? I don't have any clients. What's happening here? And and I'm on the phone with a prospective client as I'm still at this job. And the conversation sounded like this. So what do you want to do, Nick?
mm,
And I said, I don't know. I'm figuring that out. And he says, when you know, give me a call. And we hung up the phone. And I thought that's the last time I'm going to tell anyone I don't know what I want. Right. And so I quit. I quit the
mm.
job without having any clients. I gave 4 weeks notice to hedge my bet.
Oh,
But
wow. Just
yeah,
four
yeah,
weeks.
4 weeks. Right. So I'm like, let's hedge my bets. In the States, it's, 2 weeks is, normal. I gave myself 4 weeks. And I think it was the third week, going into the third week, like 2 weeks before I'm starting work, quote unquote, working for myself. It's like midnight, and I'm printing out these SOWs, and I have three of them that I'm
Mm,
printing out. The SOWs for myself.
mm,
And it occurred to me that I quit without having any plan. Like this is not a Harvard business review, right? No one's going to
mm.
go quit your job without having a plan, right?
Yeah.
But I did, other than make it work. And I
Mm,
looked at my wife when I quit, and she's like, "So what are you going to do?" And my response was, "I'm going to make it work."
mm,
And if she had asked me anything about, so tell me a little bit more about how you're going to make this work, I would have had no good answer for her.
mm.
None. And 3 weeks later, I'm printing out three SOWs. So when I finally walked into my first day working for myself, I stepped into 60-hour billable work weeks for the
Oh,
next three to
wow.
four months. Yeah. Yeah. So that was 5 years ago.
Mm. So that's interesting. And I want to unpack this a little bit now. So you were, you're pretty much an employee until 2019. And
Yeah.
then that's when you stepped into this new arena of working for yourself.
Hmm.
But you took the plunge. I mean, why did it take you so long to take the plunge in the first place? That's the first question. And secondly, when you did finally take the plunge, you took it without a plan. So what happened? Where was the procrastination or what was going on?
In 2017, I was working at a local publishing company, and it
Mm,
was wonderful. And I started with the company, and I think there were like 7 people, and when I left, there was about 40 people,
mm.
and working there as the SEO guy. When I started, the site was getting 85 million visits a year, as it was when I
Wow.
started. When
Mm.
I started, right? When I
Right.
left 6 years later, it was getting 185 million visits a year.
Wow.
A lot of traffic, right? And in the meantime, I'm sort of getting bored.
Mm,
And I'm wondering, like, 185 million visits. Where do you go? Where do you go from this?
mm,
What is going to be interesting after doing this? And I'm in San Diego, and I came from the Bay Area, from New Jersey to the Bay Area to San Diego. And I'm like, the only interesting things at that scale are in the Bay Area. We're talking eBay, we're talking something big like that, and I don't want to go back there. I like
mm,
where I live. I don't want to go back there. So in 2017, in this period of time where I'm going, I don't know I don't know where I'm going with myself. I'm not quite sure, but I'm in a pivotal point, and I need to figure that out. I started working with a personal development coach, and he said, I have this tool that I use. It's called the Harrison Assessment.
mhm,
And what it does is it's not a personality assessment. It's a behavioral tool. that
Okay.
lists your most preferred behaviors to your list preferred behaviors. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I fell in like with it and I got certified and I use it with other folks. And what came out of it, it has life themes, 5 life themes. Okay. That's at the top of the report of 175 characteristics. And it's a scale of 2 to 10, 6 being neutral. Okay. And the first one, the first characteristic at a scale of, or at a rating of a 10 was want stable career. Right. So to answer your question, well, why'd you wait so long? Because that was a thing for me. Want stable career was a thing. I scored a 10 out of 10. Right.
Yeah.
And we're going through this and he's like, we should talk about this. And I'm thinking like, you're not
What's to
getting it,
talk
dude.
about?
Yeah. Like I like to pay my bills. Like what's going on? Like,
Yeah.
like, and he goes, let's take a look at your risk score.
Mm.
And I'm thinking it's going to be low. And
Mm.
he turns the page, says it's a 2. I'm like, of course it's a 2. It's
Yeah.
like my stable career is a 10. Like what are you missing?
Mm.
Right. That's what I'm thinking at this point in the debrief. And he says, so imagine if that 2 was a 3,
Mm.
if that 3 was a 4, if that 4 was a 5, right? And as the risk score goes up, your want stable career is going to just naturally go down because you're going to be more open to things.
Mm.
What would that look like for you? Because right now you're affording yourself one option, and that's working for someone else for the rest of your life. Oh shit, you're right.
Mm.
So that was a point where I started to see things a little differently. I mean, the colors were different, just like your perception of the world just changed within a matter of an hour debrief.
Mm.
And so that's why it took me that long. And so I'm on the phone with my mom and dad. I remember these conversations. I'm on the phone with my mom and dad. It's a little emotional. And I'm on the phone with them driving in the car going to work. And I'm like, yeah, I'm a little bored. Thinking about quitting my job. And my mom's like, why? You live, you bike to the beach or you bike to your work. It's a block and a half away from the beach. You surf at lunch. They bring in lunch.
Mm.
There's quarterly celebrations. They pay you well. There's bonuses. There's all these things. And I'm like, it's all true. And what we're not saying here explicitly is want stable career is yours. It's not mine.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was the first time where I start to see, well, this 10 isn't even mine.
Mm.
Okay. So once I figured out, well, that's not mine, then I started to wonder, well, what in this report actually is mine?
Okay.
Right. And now we can start to work on that. Because like once I get rid of the garbage, that's not mine. Now I get to deal with my own garbage, right? This is exciting.
Yeah.
This is exciting. Painful, also exciting, but productive, right? Like it changes the world. It changes your world.
It changes
it's
your perception
cool.
of yourself. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. And so with the perception of yourself, like if you're always looking into the east, you never see the sunset.
Yeah.
Right. So you change your perspective on things. And now you can see things for more of what they are. You see them more clearly. You see your options ahead of you a little more easily. And it doesn't make everything easy. It doesn't make life super, super easy, but it makes life like you're on the right track. You're living it the right way. And so it's going to be hard and it's going to be easy, whichever path you take. Those things are going to exist, but one's going to be more fulfilling than the other. And I'd rather be on the path where things are hard and fulfilling than the path where things are hard and it's not fulfilling.
Mm. So it's great that you took the plunge, but you took the plunge without a plan.
Yeah.
That you had the longest time to plan and you took the plunge without the plan. So if you were considering things in 2017, by the time you took the plunge in 2019, you still had 2 years to make a plan. What went wrong there? Or in hindsight, what advice would you give to yourself?
So I left that job from 2017 to go to this little startup.
Okay.
The one that wasn't a good fit. And I was like, I'm going to do startup land. I'm going to do that. I'm going to run the company. This is cool. And it just wasn't what I wanted to do. 9 months in, like all the signals were there of this is not for you. This is not for you. So that was the plan, was to do something different, was to get out of SEO, right? Because where do you go from here? Well, I'll run a company. It involves SEO, but it's not my day job, right? And then at the end of it, I thought, I do like doing what I do, and I don't want to go work for eBay, but I want to work with other companies to help give them visibility. So I can teach them what I know how to do, set up plans for them. And Yeah, that tended to work out pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, considering you had no plan when you actually started the work, you
Yeah.
had 60 hours of work per week for it for a few
Yeah.
months. So you started off in a very, very positive and great position. Let's
Yeah.
talk about your mindset then. So over the course of 2017 to 2019, what changed? I know your perception of yourself changed, but how did you work on your mindset? What allowed you to take more risks? Because I completely understand that I'm a risk taker. So stability is of very low value to me, whereas risk
Mm.
taking is very high. I'm a complete risk taker.
Yeah.
But I like being a risk taker. I like the turbulence my life has. I think anything more stable, and I probably would get bored. Honestly, I would do. So I'm always looking for different challenges,
Yeah.
and I know that about myself now. When I was younger, I didn't understand. I thought, what the hell am I doing? Why am I self-sabotaging? It was not. It's just I like adventure and I like different things, and I'm always expiring. Always trying
Yeah.
different things out. But you had the opposite. You had stability. You weren't a risk taker.
Hmm.
So how did you change that? Because in order to take the plunge, you had to become a risk taker. Entrepreneurial, ship is just risks. It's a roller coaster
Yeah.
ride with the ups and
Yeah.
downs, and oh my God, there are highs, and oh my God, there are lows. So how
Yeah.
do you work on your mindset for that?
I mean, the Harrison really brought things. I saw my operating system in
Mm.
black and white, black, white, and blue. There's a lot of blue in there.
Mm.
It was just very clear. It was very clear, and you can easily see or imagine, like, if you were to move this one characteristic one way or the other, like all the elements on the board
To
start to
start
shift,
changing.
all of them, right? And so you're like, it's not about 175 characteristics. It's about like one or two of them,
Yeah.
and then everything else sort of changes, right?
Yeah.
So for me, it was that realization and the and really the mismatch. And so here was one of the moments, and I was like, oh shit, like that doesn't feel good at all. With the same gentleman who I'm talking about, who ran me through the assessment. I was working with him for a few weeks, and I was like, give me some homework. Like I'm trying to put these things into place, right? So awareness and action, to answer your question, awareness and action, awareness, intention, and action. And there was one day I came back to him, and he said, so what happened this week at work? And I said, well, I tried these things out, and like it just fell flat, didn't work
Mm.
out. And he goes, and now you know. I said, well, now I know what? You're not in alignment with your job.
Mm.
Oh, like, and it was like I got nothing to work with. Because I hung my hat on
Mm.
want stable career, right? Even after it was brought to my attention that want stable career and then the risk, like I was still a lot of programming going on there.
Yeah.
But things started to shift. And so here was one example. Like you just see things differently. We would
Yeah.
huddle every morning, and it was great until you realize it's not for you,
Mm.
right? And then nothing is right for you. Then lunch doesn't taste right. Like look, everything starts to become a mismatch. The
Yeah.
signals are there. They're undeniable.
Mm.
They're undeniable. And there was one morning in huddle, we're all standing. There's like 30 of us standing around, probably at this point. And someone made a joke, and everyone laughed, and I'm not laughing. And I'm like, I
Mm.
would have laughed a week or two ago, and now it doesn't. I mean, it was sort of a funny joke, right? Whatever, it was humorous,
Mm.
but it almost sounds like a laugh track in my head.
Mm.
And that was my programming going, like, you just did this,
Mm.
right? Like there wasn't even, you just subscribed to it, and now you're not anymore. And it
Mm.
had nothing about the place, nothing about the people. It was all about me. There was,
Mm.
like you said, there just wasn't a match anymore.
Yeah.
And so you start to think about and wonder, well, what can I do? Right. And I've done SEO for more than a minute. So I thought, well, that's my ride. I'm going to do
Mm.
that.
How much of an impact did your life coach have on your ability? And I know that he did the Harrison's assessment, but along with that, and this is for those people who are on the on the fence about getting coaching, and I really do believe in mentorship. By the way, I think mentors
Yeah.
help you immensely. But I want to get your opinion about it. How much of your success, not necessarily success in your career, but success in your ability to see yourself for who you are
Yeah.
and change your perception about yourself,
Yeah.
how much of that you would, attribute to having a mentor who helped you to do that?
Yeah. Tremendous amount. Yeah.
Mm.
A tremendous. Um, I mean, I would have, the Harrison was helpful, and I kept it on my desk at home, right? I refer to that thing frequently. When something didn't feel good at work, I looked at it like, where's my part in this?
Mm.
But to have someone you can talk to about it, and who knows, even if they just know a little bit more than you, it's a
Mm.
lot more than you because
Mm.
they've done it, they've muddled through it, they've come out the other end. You haven't,
Mm.
right? So to have someone who has a cleaner and non-emotional lens and looking out for your best interest, there's a lot to be said for that. And
Mm.
and someone who's going to call you out and go, well, that's you said you wanted these things and now you're sabotaging yourself. So
Mm.
let's talk about that, right? So quite a bit. Yeah, I highly recommend. And it's also sketchy. It's a sketchy domain, right? There's everyone's trying to help everyone these days. And so who's qualified to do it? That's a little tough. But
Yeah.
but this gentleman and this report were super helpful. And I liked the report. I liked what it did for me so much that I got certified in it. And I
Mm.
started to run my team through it. And there was a gentleman who I used to work with, and he was in a position where he's like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do what I'm doing.
Mm.
And he and I chatted a little bit about it, what I was doing and how I got there, and those things resonated with him. And I said, let's run the Harrison on you. Let's see how it works. And so what came out of it was, you are so resilient. Like, you can deal with a garbage environment, garbage work environment, and you can thrive in it. Or you can
Mm.
go to a different environment without all the nonsense and you can thrive there. The difference is going to be, I think, for you is, over here, there's going to be more competition. It's a healthy environment. Over
Mm.
here, people are going to just bail. But if you have the tolerance for the garbage, like you can really excel in these difficult environments. A year and a half later, he says, I want to take you out to dinner. I want to let you know that I'm moving. I got this position. I've kept just like you, I kept the Harrison on my desk. And I was very clear with my goals and objectives, and I managed to them. And he got a very impressive role at a very impressive company abroad.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think we need to probably talk more about the Harrison assessment in the Money Talkies. But for now, let's wrap this up and say, what would your advice be to someone who's listening to this, who's been in a stable job, or corporate career for the last 10, 15, 20 years, but has this burning desire to do something different and to go in a different direction?
I would recommend not doing what I did. That's I don't know how many of those cases work out. I imagine not a lot of them do.
Yeah,
But
I think
but
you were
the
fortunate. I think things were in alignment with you, but I think having no
yeah
plan is planning to fail. I think Jim Rohn's correct when he says that if you have no plan, you plan to fail.
yeah. So there's something to be said about the timing,
Hmm.
right? And what you're meant to do. And so there's a conversation that we may not fit on this podcast, but there's this universal support that's out there just waiting for you to tap into it.
Hmm.
And once you do, you're still living in the 3D world here. You're still walking on the earth, but you
Yeah,
have a deal with the cosmos. Or there's something
100%,
more that's
100%,
happening,
100%.
right? And so once and that path is a whole lot of trust,
A
right?
lot of
There's
trust.
not
Yeah, it's a leap of faith.
right.
Yeah.
And it's not like, hey, after you do this, then you do that. It's not a onesie twosie, but walk you through one potato, two potato. It is not that. It
Mm.
is it's not necessarily goal centric. It's very intention centric,
Yeah.
right? Which I didn't really know I was doing at the time. I'm going to make this work out. How? No idea, but I'm going to do it. Right? It wasn't, I'm going to make $1 million. Here's how I'm going to do it. Here's what the clients look like. It wasn't that. It was, I'm going to do it and I don't know what it looks like. The intention was there. And then the action. And then I had to figure it out because this worked and then it didn't work. And then, right, you have to figure it out. So there is something to be said about tapping into who you truly are and being on the right path. Once you're on the right path, there is some support that comes through for you.
Divine inspiration
And,
and divine
right.
help. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And even when it gets hard and you go, oh man, this sucks. Sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes you need that kick in the pants. And I will say that only in the context of it's a productive kick in the pants when you're on the right path. If
Yes.
you're not on the right path, it is just a kick in the pants.
Yeah. To put you in the right direction.
That's right.
Yeah, I
That's right.
agree. Wonderful. So on that note, we'll wrap up. Nick, tell us, where can we find you on the internet? How can we connect with you?
Yeah, you can go to my website, opticsin.com. You can request a discovery call there. We'll see if a new website's good for you or optimizing your current website or whatever your SEO problem is or need. We can set up a call there and figure it out together.
Wonderful. So if you are listening to us on the podcast, then the links that Nick and his social media handles, everything else would be in the show notes. And if you're watching the YouTube, then down below in the description section, we'll have all the links for him to go check him out and see how he can help you develop and or build your existing website. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Nick. We have to have you main talkers and discuss further, but today, thank you so much for being our guest.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening to me and Nick today on Friday Future. I will be back with another amazing guest finding out how they changed their life by changing their mindset. Until the next time you meet, this is Gull Khan signing off. Take care and bye for now.